Alrighty. So we are back. Let's make sure that this has refreshed here. All right, let's see. All right, so we are back here. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's happening. Let's see if the settings that I have changed have done anything to make sure that the connection stays good again. You're halfway to the store. You're either walking fast or um, you're close to the store, or you live close to the store. All right, good. So we are back up and running. Hopefully, we won't have any more issues. Just tinkering around with the settings. Yesterday, if you did not hear David Barton, we will be starting a new podcast. As I said, it will be called the All Grit Pod. It will be called the All Grit Pod, and we are still working on the graphics and the schedule. But hopefully, by the end of the week, we will have something available for you. I will be joining the Rocked On Podcast Network. If you haven't seen the Rocked On Podcast Network, Rocked On with Will Rock Jr. Does a great job talking about the Lions. He is a super analytical stat man. He loves stats, but he also is very realistic, and he knows that stats, while they are fantastic, especially the way that he goes into them, he knows that they're not the whole entire picture. What is going on, Just a Fan? Nice to see you. Just a Fan saw the a snippet of the new podcast yesterday. So here's the thing with that podcast. It will be mainly me. Will and I will sometimes do shows together. He has a morning show as well called the Rise and Grind podcast. So I'm not sure if that will stay the same name. So sometimes I'll probably go on the morning show. I'll probably keep the same slot. I might not be going live every single day. But there will be videos and things of that nature. I may go live 3 times a week. I want to shoot for 5 days a week. I love doing the lives. I love interacting with the people here. There will be a lot more people to interact with when this does kick off. So we're still just kind of ironing out the details. But like I said, hopefully by the end of the week, we'll have something concrete and we can announce it, and hope to get started next week, barring any issues. So that is the plan for moving forward. Instead of Will and Grace, it would be Will and Chef. Yes. That's pretty much what it'll be. It will be Will and Chef. There are some other people who are part of the Rocked On Podcast Network. We hope to have guests, a lot more guests than I have had until now. I've had, Doc Macaron on. I've had Matthew Broder. I've had Easy from the Woodward Heavyweights. I was working on getting Spinmo racks from the Woodward heavyweights in before the draft. We agreed to do a show, but just that was just a busy time, and our schedules could not align. He needed to stay back and do some things that week at the network, so we weren't able to get together. But we'll have a lot more flexibility. We'll have a lot more guests, hopefully. People within my network, people with outside of my network, and all these things. Mile marker, you found us. So yeah, it'll be a good time. We also hope to have a podcast with, like I said, there are about 3 or 4 of us who do Lions stuff. So, we'll probably have a podcast, something like along the lines of the grit guys, like the inside guys inside the NBA. Hopefully we can have that kind of chemistry. That would be awesome. So we just have a lot of things in store, man. A lot of things, just trying to grow the network, and trying to, bring fresh faces, bring fresh eyes, bring fresh perspectives, and just collaborate on this Lions content, man, because we all love the Detroit Lions. The fans love the Detroit Lions. You're just trying to strike while the iron is hot, Don't look for the Lions to ever be bad again. Let's hope not. But if that does happen at some point, don't look for us to go away, because we're not doing that. I actually started my podcast. Well, not my podcast. I didn't start the podcast. Well, okay. It was another podcast that I started. I don't even remember what I called it. I think I called it like Cooking with Chef. But obviously, Cooking with Chef is not a podcast that you would go, hey, that's a sports podcast. So, I started that in the 2022 season. Was it 2022? I believe it was, because golf got here in 2021. So it was somewhere around there. I think 2022. But so I started when we were bad, and if that ever happens again, like I said, hopefully that never happens again. I will be continuing to be a podcaster. Obviously not a fair weather fan, or it's all fun when we're in the sun, but nothing when the clouds are dark. I'm not that type of guy. So hopefully we will be around for a long time, bringing you fresh Lions content. Like I said, there will be a lot of analytical things from Will's side. Obviously, there will be a lot of good banter, a lot of good discussion from both of us. And yeah, man, we're just trying to take this thing to the top. So let's get talking about some of the things that we were talking about. Like we said, this episode is entitled Around the Horn. So we've got things to talk about around the league. Like I said, mandatory mini camp is coming up. Training camp, not training camp, but OTAs. We've got a lot of information coming out of OTAs. A lot of risers. Didn't see too many fallers, but you're not really going to see too many people falling at OTAs. That shouldn't happen. They don't have pads on. There's no tackling and things of this nature. JMO's doing really well. Everyone is raving about JMO. He's making some spectacular catches. He's running crisp routes, and there are occasional drops here and there. But he is holding his own. Every receiver has dropped sometimes, unless you're Amon-Ra St. Brown or DeAndre Hopkins. And they have an extremely historically low drop rate, but they still have dropped a ball or two here and there. So we're just looking for Jameson Williams to continue to progress and impress. He has burnt some people in practice. Obviously, we already know that. I think he's burnt Kendall Vildor multiple times, things of that nature. So when you see J-Mo get on the field, obviously you don't want to, you don't want to cover him man on man. You want to have safety help over the top. And if you have safety help over the top, as I've said before, it is going to open up the middle of the field for Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown to eat, because that safety cannot just come down and chill in the box or chill in the, immediate flats or the 5-yard zone between where the line of scrimmage is and where the linebackers will be. So it will leave linebackers to cover the likes of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. And we've seen them eat continuously in the middle of the field, and that is not going to be something that linebackers are going to be able to do very well, just like they are not able to do that now. So you're going to have to look for teams to get creative covering the Lions offense when Jameson Williams is on the field. And I believe that is one of the large reasons why Jameson Williams is projected to be the number 2 receiver this year. And David Barton in the chat is going in on Sam Darnold. Why are you going in on Sam Darnold? Because, yes, if you have been living under a rock, Justin Jefferson got the bag. He got not a bag. He got not the little bag or the bag. He got the bag. He got the richest non-quarterback contract in the history of the NFL. Now, we say that for emphasis. Obviously, it doesn't matter, because the next guy that gets a contract, well, if we look at it this way, the next guy that gets a contract may not get exactly what he got, may not get any more, or he may get $35.1 million per year. That's the way that it goes. Whenever these guys get contracts, look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown was the highest paid receiver, I think, for about 18 hours or something like that. Because then you had A.J. Brown sign the deal, and he's getting $32 million per year. So Amon-Ra's getting 30.2. A.J. Brown's getting 32. Justin Jefferson's getting 35. So the next guy might get 35.1, and that next guy is probably going to be CeeDee Lamb. Now, if you guys have not seen the Adam Schefter tweet where he tweeted out a picture with Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb's stats juxtaposed right next to each other, and they were very similar. They were very similar stats, but the thing that we do have to realize is that Justin Jefferson missed a lot of games last season. He missed a lot of games last season. It was to the point where I didn't even know if he was going to play any games against the Lions, which we wish he hadn't, but they didn't win those games, right? We wish he hadn't, but they did not win those games. And that opens up the debate too. Is a receiver really beneficial? Like, is it beneficial for a receiver to be your highest paid player on your roster? Well, it depends on what other pieces you have around him. If you look at the Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold is not on a break-the-bank contract. J.J. McCarthy is on a rookie deal. So it's possible that the Vikings are not as bad as we think they're going to be. I made a graphic where I put up Justin Jefferson's money that he was making and put a laughing face while he was doing the gritty and holding a bag of money, and he had a diamond up to his eye when he was doing the gritty. But thinking back on it, we have some issues where we can understand the salary cap is going to go up year over year. His deal is a 4-year deal. Now, J.J. McCarthy will be on his rookie deal for the entirety of Justin Jefferson's deal. So the only person that they're going to have to pay probably anything similar to where Justin Jefferson is currently getting paid is Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison obviously did quite well his rookie season, and especially benefiting from the time where he got to be the number one wide receiver, and Justin Jefferson was out due to injury. He had, I think, ankle and hamstring injuries were kind of plaguing him last season. So I'm not really sure if Jordan Addison is going to continue to ascend. TJ Hawkinson is there. Obviously, he's probably not going to play for the majority of the year, seeing as how he tore his ACL pretty close to the playoffs. So I'm not exactly sure what he's going to bring to the table, how many games he's going to play this season. I would say probably if you're a betting person, you'd probably put the over-under on 5 games for TJ Hawkinson. So, again, I'm not exactly sure what he is going to bring to the table. But I don't know that the Vikings are going to be as bad as we think that they're going to be, just because of the Justin Jefferson contract. I don't think that the Justin Jefferson contract really cripples the team the way that we thought it would cripple the team. 1 second, guys. So anyway, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so the Justin Jefferson deal is not going to cripple the team the way in which we thought it would. I'm not, because we look at the Lions. Now the Lions with this Cam Sutton situation. With this Cam Sutton situation, we have about $40 million in cap space. We just paid out like what, 100 or what was it, 400 something million dollars over, these 3 players, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, and Penei Sewell, and we still have $40 million left over. Now, obviously, we didn't pay it all to them at the same time. It's just the total sum of their deals, right? And if we look at their deals, especially in those third years where their cap hits go up extremely high, those things are going to get why am I forgetting the word? Restructured. Those contracts are going to get restructured. Nobody is going to go into a year where they have a $69 million cap hit. Nothing crazy like that is going to happen. There's not a capologist worth his salt, which is going to allow that to happen. So let me get to some of the comments that we have here. Mile Marcus says you'll be a nice balance to Will. He's sales. He's a salesman. Yeah. All right. Pick 6. Thanks to Darnold for a big Lions victory, says David Barton. Let's see it in the regular season. David Barton says, I can burn Vildor. I don't know about all that, David Barton. Kendall Vildor is an NFL cornerback. Come on now. Justified says, I'm a decent cook. I can only lightly toast Vildor. All right. These comments are great. Brandon Hallam says they don't have Danielle Hunter now. They don't have Danielle Hunter. You are correct. But But they do have a very promising rookie in Dallas Turner. They've got some other guys, Andrew Van Ginkel. And there was someone else they signed. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I don't think there's going to be a super huge drop off. It may take Dallas Turner a little bit of time to kind of, get his feet wet. I don't know that he's going to hit the ground running because there were some things that he had to work on. Strength wise, technique wise, was he going to be able to dominate NFL offensive linemen the way that he was able to dominate college offensive linemen? That is to be determined, but I'm not sure that that's going to happen year one. But I think we play the Vikings fairly late in the year, so it may be some issue that we have to deal with by the time we get to them. But yes, you are right in that they don't have Danielle Hunter, but I don't think that they lost so much that they're just going to be really, really bad. I don't think they're going to be kind of like a laughing stock or an easy victory in the division whatsoever. Brian Hallam also says, wonder which remaining 2021 that haven't secured a contract have a big prove-it year. That's a good question. That is a good question. Are you talking about wide receivers, or are you just talking about players in general? Mile Marker says, my best friend in St. Paul says Vikes fans are cautiously optimistic. Again, their roster is not as bad as we like to think that it is. Obviously, you love a bad roster within your division. You like to be able to take a break. And, for many, many years, that was the Detroit Lions. Whether it was a bad roster, whether it was bad culture, whether it was just, the environment wasn't good enough for the Lions to be successful, you always hope for something like that within your division. And we hoped for it to be the Vikings, especially since they traded away all their draft capital for the next few years. But one thing that I have learned is if you look at someone's draft day moves in a particular year, it doesn't really mean that it's going to affect the next year, because you never know what kind of trades and things like that they can do to reacquire those picks that they lost. And I think when people look at Brad Holmes and they analyze what he does, they probably are looking like, okay, this guy trades away picks every year, and then every year he gets back like he has at least 7 picks going into the year. So what's his name? Kwesi Odafominsu. I think that's his name, right? I think I pronounced it correctly. Kwesi Odafominsu. He probably looked at that and said, we traded it, Brad Holmes traded us a 12th round pick to get J-Mo. And then we wound up giving him back some picks to get Hawkinson. So it was probably just one of those situations where they looked and said, it's really not that big of a deal for us to lose some picks. We will be able to get them back next year. So I don't look for the Minnesota Vikings to go into the draft next year without reacquiring some picks from somewhere. Jessifan says, is that counting any Sutton recoup? Yes. The $40 million. Salute, Paul Thomas. How are you today? Good to see you here. The $40 million is the extra $10 million, which is going to be recouped from Cam Sutton's deal. So yes, that is why we have so much money left. Now, so much money left. Where would you like to see us use it? I have a thought, and I'll just let you guys let me know where you would like to see some of this money get used. Paul Thomas, Just a Fan, Mile Marker, David Barton, where would you guys like to see this? Brandon Hallam, if you're still here, defensive end, linebacker. Okay, I've got another take for you. I'd like to see them re-sign or extend Aleem McNeil. I would like to see them extend Aleem McNeil before he has a monster season next to DJ Reader, which is what we're expecting him to have. So anyone that's talking about the possibility of Aleem McNeil pricing himself out of a free agent deal, right? And you are very correct, Paul Thomas. They know him already. And we already know that Brad Holmes has come out and said, you don't like to give a lot of money to guys that you don't know. So this is why they're not just coming and grabbing all the big name free agents, because you don't know who they are. You don't know what their work ethic is. Everyone can talk a good game, and everyone generally talks a good game. No one is really going to come in and say, be careful when you give me this money, because once I get this money, let me tell you something, Brad. It's always been my dream to get this money. It's always been my dream to get the bag. And the thing that I have dreamt about doing after getting this bag is to just sit around and get fat and do absolutely nothing. I don't, if you're going to pay me $50 million a year, I don't need to play football anymore. What do I need to play for? As long as it's, look, if you give me $75 million guaranteed, I don't really care about the $50 million a year. I'm guaranteed $75 million once I sign on this dotted line. I am going to do absolutely nothing. Okay? I just want to let you guys know this. I'm going to do absolutely nothing. So be careful before you give me that contract, right? No one is going to say that, but that is something that happens to a very few people. Few people get comfortable. And I don't think it's a large percentage of NFL players who get the bag and just become comfortable and complacent, because I think that would be just a bad look for the NFLPA, and when they're negotiating contracts, when they're negotiating labor deals and things of this nature. It's like, man, your guys are just a bunch of lazy good for nothings, and once they really get paid, they just stop showing up. They don't come to work. They don't come to play. And they just vanish. So it's just like a few players that you give them a big contract and it blows up in your face, like Albert Haynesworth, things of that nature. But I don't think it's very, very common, right? So, but Brad Holmes obviously is trying to avoid that altogether. Cam Sutton did not say, hey, look, Brad, if I have a bad season and people start getting on me in the media and people start getting on me in social media, and then my girlfriend says something to me, I'm just going to choke her. I'm just going to choke her out, because I just can't handle the pressure. I can't handle the criticism. He didn't say that to Brad Holmes, and obviously that's probably not what he planned to do that day. He probably didn't wake up that day and said, is Cam Sutton going to have to choke a bee? If anybody knows the Wayne Brady skit, you know what I'm talking about. But I don't think that was his intention, obviously. But, sometimes whether you want to call it CTE, whether you want to call it bad, stress management or whatever the case may be, he reacted to whatever happened there. I can't say that she said anything to him out of pocket. I don't know what she did. I don't know. So it's never okay to hit a woman or strangle a woman, unless she's trying to unalive you. Then I could like, you're just defending yourself. You're defending your actual life. So, but under any other circumstances, it's never okay. And obviously that's probably not what his intention was, but you can't make excuses for people who go down that path and make that decision. I lost my cool or whatever the case may be. Yeah, but it's your responsibility to keep it. You're supposed to be the protector and the provider. You're not supposed to be the assaulter. So, again, that was just a bit of a tangent for Paul Thomas. Yes, he does know Aleem McNeil already. And you just don't want him to hit free agency, especially if he has 10 sacks next to DJ Reader. If a 3-tech interior defensive lineman has 10 sacks That's a price. I mean, look at what Christian Wilkinson got. Or Wilkins. Is it Wilkins or Wilkins? I think it's Wilkins. Look at what he got. I think he got like $94 million or something like that. So if you get 10 sacks, he's not going to be a part of this team too much longer. But also, I keep saying that the salary cap is not real. How did we pay $400+ million to 3 players and still have $40 million left over? If you think the salary cap is real, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. Paul Thomas says, I think it's CTE. We all make mistakes. Just saying it puts Lions in a bind. Actually, it didn't really put the Lions in a bind because his salary is gone. It's off the books and it comes back to us. And we have probably 4 better corners. I don't know what Ennis Rakestraw is going to be in the league, but Cam Sutton wasn't it. Cam Sutton. But again, I've always defended Cam Sutton as far as he wasn't as bad as we thought he was before the injury. He was solid. He wasn't intercepting the ball or anything of that nature, but he wasn't a liability. Now, after the toe injury, after turf toe, yeah, he wasn't. He turned into Sutton toast, and he wasn't that great. Justin Fan said, she was a woman. What more is needed? Jokes. Hey, to some people, unfortunately, some people that's true of what they think. You think CTE affects all the NFL players? It's possible. I mean, it's a train wreck for 60 minutes. Or what is it? A car accident for 60 minutes. It's a 60-minute car accident. So obviously there are going to be some consequences and some repercussions of playing a game, which is as violent as football is, but we all love it. It could have messed us up, though. It could have. But from what I saw earlier today on Twitter was that the only reason that we had to wait for league approval is because I think it was like a couple of days before the incident happened, we guaranteed his salary for the current year. And had we not guaranteed the salary, but obviously that's when in his contract, the date of that salary being guaranteed was already set beforehand. It's not like they knew something was coming down the pike and then they were like, oh, let's go ahead and guarantee his salary, because why would you do that? But so had that warrant and all that stuff come out a few days before, they never would have guaranteed his salary. And I believe they would have been able to just recoup the money without going through the league channels, which is why it's been designated as like a post June 1st type of thing. And they had to do some things to finagle that money going back to the Lions. Power went out. I had to reconnect. No problem. What is the new podcast name, and will you put in a link to sign up? The new podcast name is the All Grit Pod, and definitely once we get the logo finalized, and once we get our thumbnails and graphics and all those things finalized, which hopefully will happen this week. By the end of this week, hopefully we'll see. I definitely will put in a link for you to follow and subscribe. And also, we've got to nail down the schedule, because the thing is, since I will be part of another network, we want to try to maximize our audiences. So we don't want to be like competing with each other and being on at the same time. So like I was saying before, I might sometimes not be live every day. I mean, I want to be live every day. I want to be live 5 days a week. But I'm going to shoot for no less than 3 days a week. But there will be videos coming out on a daily basis. Some of the lives will be turned into videos. Some videos will just be made with different topics and things of that nature. So there will be a constant flow of content every day, just like you're seeing here. So that's definitely what's going to happen. No problem, Paul Thomas. Justin says, so you guys are you guys dealing with some bad weather out there? Oh, the storm's coming. Well, you guys should be going up in the temperatures in the good weather, right? Since I'm going in the other direction, where the weather is getting colder, and well, we know Paul Thomas, you're in Arizona, you're in the desert, so you're not going to be dealing with any bad weather. I consider hot weather bad weather, so you're dealing with bad weather all the time. It was 80 today for the first time. So maybe the cold fronts and the warm fronts are mixing for the last time. 100 degrees is crazy. 100 degrees is crazy. So right now, outside for me, it is 46 degrees Fahrenheit. So inside the house, it's probably 40, if not less. So I'm sitting here with this space heater right next to me, to try to, get some warmth. So did anyone happen to see or mixing for the first time this summer season? Yeah. But hopefully that's what I meant by for the last time, because now that it's the summer, you won't have any more cold fronts for quite some time. You would hope. Paul Simon says, may not be hot to try, but Paul is hot when he tries. You gotta love Justin Fan. You've gotta love Justin Fan. Did anyone see the Jeff Risdon tweet about JMO? Because the only reason I bring it up because I was watching his summary of what went on in the training in the OTA practice, and I just want to know if anyone saw the tweet. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. Are you near the water mile marker? Yeah, going to from 100 to 50 is it's just pretty much like Melbourne weather. We'll be in the middle of winter time and it'll get up to like 60 or 70 degrees, and you're like, well, where did this come from? Because last night it was 32. So you definitely get that. 40 miles south from the Mackinac Bridge. Okay, not bad. So yeah, I mean, weather is it's changing pretty much, all around the world now. So it's difficult to know what season it is. You feel like it's winter, and then one day it feels like it's summer, and you feel like it's summer, and then one day it feels like it's winter. So it's all mixed up. But basically, the reason that I brought up the tweet, because it was something to the effect of JMO looked great on one play, and then like predictably turns around and drops a pass the next play. So, and then he was like not sure why that was being misconstrued as negative. And he was asking for the fans not to be so negative, because that just opened up the door for a lot of people to just pile on really, I don't get. What the thing that I don't get is the rooting, for JMO to fail. That's the thing that I don't get. Because I've, on this pod, I've talked so much about how JMO being unlocked, how JMO having a fantastic season is going to just catapult this offense. If you have a weapon like that, why would you want him to fail? This is the thing that I don't understand. And maybe one day I'll have a JMO hater on. Now there is a very prominent JMO hater, and Justin Fan knows exactly who he is. I don't think I would have him on the podcast, because I don't think I could stand speaking to him while he throws meaningless stats at me and tells me that JMO has no talent and he can't see it. But I just, anybody that actively roots against JMO, and I understand that people are they want to die on their take, you know what I mean? But if you're just a Twitter troll, you don't have a take. That it's just, you're not involved in giving takes, right? You're just saying something which is this asinine about a player who's had ups and downs as far as where his career started and how his career started. You know what I mean? So that's the thing that I don't understand. Yes, Justin Fan, it is Sammy. And I don't mean Sosa. So it's another Sammy out there. For those of you who don't know, I won't give him any shine. For those of you that know, you already know. So it's one of those hashtag if you know type of things. My marker says, I get that people don't like JMO, but to want him to fail, not a Lions fan wants him to fail, I would think. So, and that's the issue. I don't even get why people don't like JMO. JMO's a very likable guy. He doesn't seem, now this is from a distance. Obviously, I don't know JMO. He doesn't seem arrogant. He doesn't seem to have an ego. I mean, every time you see him out somewhere, he's amongst the people, very nice to the people. I mean, he rode through the hood handing out bottles of water to little kids. He was at Coney Island, and this dude just started talking to him, and he didn't exactly know who he was, but figured out that he was a Detroit Lions player, and he was just nice to him and spoke to him and all this other stuff. So I don't understand why you wouldn't like JMO. Gun Guy says JMO is a dog. Welcome, Gun Guy. And I've never seen anything from JMO. Now, I did, and we know I hate Jeff Okudah. I don't like him. And the reason that I don't like him is not because he was a bad player, because he was, and I believe still is. But it was after the Arizona Cardinals game, a game in which we lost, where he got his first of 2 interceptions in 3 years. Fun fact, Jeff Okudah had more jersey number changes than he had interceptions with the Detroit Lions. Let that sink in. A defensive end had more interceptions than a cornerback who was selected number 3 overall. So the number 2 overall defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson, has more interceptions as a Detroit Lion than Jeff Okudah did. And he had more jersey number changes. I believe he came in at number 30. The next year he was number 23. And the last year he was number 1. Which was particularly irking to me because my number in high school was 1. So it was after that game in which we lost, and he got an interception because Kyler Murray threw a ball behind DeAndre Hopkins. And guess who was already behind DeAndre Hopkins being burnt? It was Jeff Okudah. Burnt toast Okudah himself. And after this game, which we lost, he takes to Twitter. Definitely was Twitter at the time. It was not X. He takes to Twitter and he tells the fans to keep that same energy. I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. I was like, what? What? Keep the same energy for a guy who got an interception from being in the trail position. Because had Kyler Murray put the ball in front of his receiver, it definitely would have been another first down, possibly even a touchdown. We know Jeff Okudah loved to give up touchdowns. And I was just like, this guy doesn't get it. This guy doesn't get it at all. We are critical of you because you are the 3rd overall pick and you suck. You're terrible at football. We didn't even win. You didn't help us win. But you're chirping at the fans? So that's why I don't like Jeff Okudah. That's why I just, what is it? Yes. Let's see. Ma Marcus says his immature gambling thing, it's past. It was a sly thing to do, but he paid his dues, and that's over now. Sam is now calling Broderick Martin a bust. The guy loves to call everyone a bust. He hates everyone except Aiden Hutchinson and Pat Mahomes, bro. He just I don't understand how he has a job in sports media where all he does is hate on the players, especially players on this team who I don't understand how he's even a fan of them because he's from Chicago. Go be a Bears fan. Ma Marcus says, I just always seem to forget about Okudah, so I don't miss him. I remember those interceptions, but I definitely don't miss him. I didn't want him to be here in the first place. Justin Fan says, it took me until yesterday to finally forget Okudah, and now you bring him up again. Well, I mean, I will scream from the mountaintops forever how Jeff Okudah just wasn't that guy, and he's not that guy. Flannel is one big run-on sentence. You are correct. Paul Thomas, you already know I am not a fan of that other guy at all. We had beef, like real beef. And if we ever see each other in person, there might be a physical altercation. The amount of disrespect that he speaks to people with, he speaks down on people. He has no respect for anyone. So if I ever see him, and I told him this over the phone. You know what I'm saying? I told him that if I ever see him, it's on site. If you're going to talk to me like less than a man while being a man, we have an issue. If you're not going to be respectful, we cannot have a conversation. That's just how it works. From a sports talk perspective, I mean, what is really different? What is really different between the two? Sam is self-assured while being wrong, though. He's assured by stats. He goes on tangents and he just dominates conversations, and it's been refreshing. It's been refreshing for him to be on BDE. I never really catch BDE because I'm sleeping at the time when BDE is on. So I never catch it. I used to catch Armani and Edwards sometimes. Um, that's when I was 16 hours ahead of you guys. So I'm currently 14 hours because like we're in wintertime and you guys are going into summer. Um, but when I'm back to 16 hours, I'll be able to catch things like BDE, not BDE, but I'll be able to catch. I will be able to catch BDE, right? Hold on. Probably. But Armani and Edwards for sure. Like I said, I used to catch them when I would go to the gym in the morning. I would listen to them. Um, it just except for JJ McCarthy stats. Again, like I said, as a Michigan fan myself, I'm just not high on JJ McCarthy. I just never saw what it was. Whatever it is that people are seeing, I never saw what it was. And then we had the situation at the combine where he couldn't throw an out route. And I was just like, yeah, well, that kind of confirms what I've been saying about JJ McCarthy, and what I believe about JJ McCarthy. I just don't believe JJ McCarthy is that guy. But what I can say about JJ McCarthy is that if his throws that he can't hit are out routes, you just don't put them in your concepts. And if you need them to be in your concepts for spacing purposes, that has to be his fourth read. If you've got four wide receivers out, the out route has to be his last read. And Kevin O'Connell needs to tell him, if you get to that last read, most likely just tuck it and run. Right? Pull the ball down and run. Because if he gets to his last read, he's probably going to do what? Throw it late. And if he throws an out route late, which is a throw that he struggles with, he's probably going to throw an interception. Was I an offensive coach? Yes. As a coach, I was an offensive. Well, actually, I was both. I've coached secondary. I've coached corners. I've coached running backs. And there was a small team, which I was like the owner of the team, a co-owner of the team. And I was also like the offensive coach. So I was the offensive coordinator. I would draw up these plays. I'm going to have to try to find these plays. I think they might be in my Google Drive. I had them on my tablet, and my tablet completely died. And I had to throw it in the trash. It wouldn't even come on anymore. But I believe with all the amount of time that it was on my tablet, that they should have probably should have backed itself up and uploaded to the cloud. I just have to check it. And I was having fun, man. I was making up formations, and I had some 2 quarterback formations. It was just like calling offensive plays, especially not on the pro level. Just calling offensive plays is really fun. Being able to make up your own plays, and because this is stuff that I would do on Madden as a kid. And to be able to now like coach people and do it myself, it was a blast. It was a blast. I expected JJ to be a bust unless he sits for 1 or 2 years. Then maybe not. He needs to sit at least 1 year. He doesn't need to. If you are an NFL quarterback and you come in the league not being able to throw an out route, that's terrible. Chef, with regards to that guy, just saying, we're both Lebanese, but Christians and Muslims in the Lebanese culture are vastly different, and showing respect for others in our culture anyways. Well, I don't know. I think that I don't know, Paul. I don't know. I don't know if it has anything to do with the culture. I think it just, there are good and bad people in all cultures. There are good Muslims, there are bad Muslims. There are good Christians, there are bad Christians. There are good Jews, there are bad Jews. There are good atheists, there are bad atheists. Like, there's good and bad in every culture and every religion, and I don't know that it hinges upon culture. I just feel like being a decent human being is a right and wrong type of thing. You know what I mean? And if you're a decent human being, you're a decent human being. If you're not decent, you're not decent. You know, I don't know. You said I would never speak to folks the way that guy did. None of my relatives would. Yeah, I mean, it's just completely disrespectful. I heard him. I was watching the show one time, and I think this is like when I stopped watching the show, because I just wouldn't watch it. But I heard him one day, and this was kind of like when I was new to Woodward and all these things, and someone called in and he was giving an opinion, and he was like, "Oh, what's your name?" And he told him his name. He was like something like Fred or something. It was like, "Fred, shut up, F face," right? And hung up the phone on him. I was like, what is that? You know what I mean? So at that point, it was just like there's no respect. You know, there's no respect for a person that does things like that. It sounds like it's this dude himself. Yeah, it's just that dude. Can I respect you and still hate J-Mo though? No, Justin fan, you can't. You must love J-Mo. It is a prerequisite. It is a prerequisite. If you're a Chef fan, you gotta be a J-Mo fan. Like I said, I mean, J-Mo hasn't done anything, you know, for anyone to hate. Like, you know, he's a good kid, man. He was immature when he came in the league. He admitted that he was immature. He admitted that he had some growing up to do. This is very recently. So, you know, I give J-Mo the benefit of the doubt. Thank you, Paul Thomas. Thank you. I definitely hope he has a breakout season. I think he deserves it, man. I mean, he's putting in the work. He's putting in the work. You can't be in the same receiver room as Amon-Ra St. Brown and not have some of that rub off on you. You know what I mean? He's got to put in the work. So Dan Campbell is happy with the work that he's been putting in. And if Dan is happy with it, I'm happy with it. You know what I mean? Dan is gonna shoot you straight. He's not gonna BS you. He's not gonna blow smoke up your butt and tell you that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you're not. You know what I mean? So as long as Dan keeps hyping up J-Mo and he keeps gushing over J-Mo and it's unprompted, no one is saying, "Hey Dan, can you gush over J-Mo?" They're like, "Oh, what do you think about J-Mo?" And it's just like this whole thing, this whole spiel about how he's just the most improved player on the team from the end of last season up until now and things of that nature. So we just, again, it is going to blow the roof off of Ford Field if J-Mo is what he's projected to be. It's going to be electric. It's going to be electrifying. We already have the electrician. I'm not going to make up a nickname for J-Mo because it's Waymo. You know, Waymo targets, Waymo touchdowns, Waymo yards. That's what we hope for from J-Mo. But you guys, I am going to, that's right, Paul Thomas, the electrician, Jahmyr Gibbs, the electrician, baby. I've never been so optimistic about an upcoming season as I am this summer. Going to the NFC Championship game and winning the first half so convincingly will do that for you. Paul Thomas, yes, I did grow up in Detroit. Parts of, so high school, I went to high school in Atlanta. So yes, I grew up in Detroit. I left when I was around 13. And I was all over Detroit. It was like we probably lived in one house for a year, maybe 2 years tops at a time. you know. So I was just all over, west side, east side, north side, south side. Um, uh, my grandmother lived on the east side of Detroit, so I attended third grade on the east side. I didn't live with my grandmother, but like my school was right down the street from her house. My grandmother lived on Canton Street. At the time, I was living on Longfellow. I don't know if you guys know these streets or not. Longfellow is in that old antebellum uh, district of Detroit. I believe it's the Northeast. Um, so yeah, I lived all over Detroit until we left for Atlanta. Um, my sister lives in the East Detroit area. Yeah, I don't know. Has the East side of Detroit gotten any better? Because the East side, man, the East side is rough. It is rough. Uh, Now called East Point. But hopefully, all those areas, man, get better because I mean Detroit is it's just so rich in history, so rich in culture, man. It's a shame that we get the bad rap that we get because you know it is a dangerous place. It's a dangerous place, but I'll always love Detroit. It was where I was born, it's where I grew up, and it's always gonna have a place in my heart, even if I'm not there, and even if sometimes that is the safest bet for me and the fam. Rich and good people too. Yes, much love. Here's Johnny. Um, Dearborn was a great place too. Um, Used to go down there and get the meats. Um, do you guys? It was the only place, and I've never had anywhere else. You guys know what smelt is? It's a fish. You probably know what it is, being in and from Detroit. But smelt, um, yes, and in Dearborn they would like fry it and you would just eat the thing whole because I mean the bones were so fine it didn't matter. So once you got that thing deep fried, um, you fish for smelt. Okay, so that was like I've never had it anywhere else in the world. I've never found it anywhere else, but it was just like one of my favorite things growing up. All the Great Lakes, so probably Chicago, all those places. Cleveland, but I would never go to Cleveland voluntarily. I know when I was a kid, I was taken to Ohio, and I didn't know I was in Ohio. I was just going to Cedar Point, so I was taken there against my will. I didn't know where I was. I was a kid. I was a little kid. So, but once I got a little bit older and I understood where Cedar Point was, I was appalled. I was appalled that I was actually in Ohio having fun. That's not a memory that I would like to look back upon fondly. Yeah, Minnesota, Wisconsin. Smell. I mean, it is delicious, and you can just eat a whole plate of it. Just eat a whole plate of it. I think smelt and shrimp are the things that I would just if we had a seafood buffet, I would get a plate of smelt and a plate of shrimp, and I would be happy. Piled high. Grunion. Okay. Grunion. Does it taste just as good as smelt? Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but um, yeah, it was great, man. It was great. But definitely, whenever I get back on that side, I'm definitely gonna have to go up to Dearborn and just grab some smelt. I think when's the last time I was in Detroit? Detroit specifically, the last time I was there was 2004, I believe. The last time I was in the States was 2017. So I was there for some football business. I was there for about a week, and then I went back to the desert. I went back to Qatar. Detroit, Martin, West Chicago, Plainview, Patton Park, Belle Isle, 12th Street, respective. Yeah, you've been all over just like me. You've been all over just like me, Johnny. I mean, and then like I think one of my brothers went to Redford. My other brother went to Cass Tech. He might have even gone to Country Day. We lived in Southfield for like a year. My father was married to some woman out there, and so yeah. So we've been, like I said, I've been all over. I lived in Ann Arbor. I lived on the Michigan campus for a couple of years because my dad went back to university when I was in like the third grade. So he went back there to try to finish up his degree. So yeah, man, it's just all over Michigan, man. I'm a Michigander through and through. Yeah. I don't really like the term Michigander. I feel like we should be called Michiganians. I don't know. I just feel like it has a nicer ring to it. Michigander is like, I'm just like, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like, I just feel like the gander part is just, we need to change it. Redford Organ Theater Society. All right. I don't know, Justin Fan. I just feel like I don't know. I just never, because I think when I was younger, I used to think it was Michiganian. And then when I got older, I found out it was Michigander. And I was like, I don't really know. My marker, you have a great day, a great night as well. I am going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. I got some work to do. And it has been great hanging out with you guys. It's been great just interacting with the chat. I love to do these types of things. So it has been fun for me. Hopefully it's been fun for you guys as well. You already know, Mission Moose. You already know, man. Smash that like button. Tell your friend. Be a friend. Tell a friend. Like Pat McAfee says, share the stream. Once again, guys, remember, we will be moving to the All Grit Pod as soon as possible. We just need to get the graphics together, get the logo together. The channel is already up. It is going to be rebranded from something else. So, if you want to go subscribe to it now, I believe it is still called the Rocked On Syndicate. And that will be rebranded to the All Grit Pod. And that's where I will be. So once everything is official and finalized, then I will be streaming from there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do exactly with this channel here. I'll probably keep it and do something with it. Maybe post shorts from it, and post some videos from it. Just doing a little cross pollination. All right. But yeah, guys, that is it. And as always, until next time, peace.